Hey guys, quick little video in between these fish videos that I've been posting. We're not done yet. There's still plenty more to do. I'm not stopping that series or anything. Just a little video. Snake bites. If you have a snake, if you work with snakes, it happens, right? We get bit sometimes. It's just something that happens when you work with snakes. And it's not necessarily because snakes want to attack people. It just sometimes happens. You can startle the snake. It could do a little defensive strike, a little warning strike to say, hey, back up, I'm scared. Or let's say you're feeding them and they miss their food and grab your hand instead. Whatever the case may be, snake bites happen. Now, what do you do when you have snakes that have tiny bits of venom? Well, for example, my hognose cilia, they technically do have venom. They have a type of venom that is used for amphibians. So its ability to cause harm is targeted towards frogs, toads, other amphibians. If a human were to get bit by this venom, it is not lethal and it is not really even high risk. It's not like you're gonna lose a finger. It's not like anything crazy is gonna happen. You'll get some swelling. That's really it. Now, of course, there's going to be more severe cases. It's the human body. We all react differently. I'm immunocompromised. So hypothetically, I could have a more severe reaction than someone else, potentially, because my immune system already doesn't do its job. Throw some venom into the mix and who knows? Maybe my immune system will just clock out and everything will go haywire. I don't know. But Celia has never bit me. Is my video recording sideways? Hello? Man, I really hope I was in focus that whole time. Celia has never bit me, so I've never had to worry about whether my body can handle getting the venom out. My body has never been put to the test with venom. I have never been bit by a venomous snake. Until now. I got bit. And it wasn't by Celia. It was my Malagasy cat-eyed snake. Bug. Now, the interesting thing about them is I was going into it kind of blind when it came to their venom. You can look it up online, but there's not a lot of info out there. It's very sparse. There's very little info about the bites. All I have are secondhand accounts from other people that have heard from other people that it's similar to a hognose bite, it's worse than a hognose bite, it's nothing, it's bad. So I really didn't know what it would be like, and I didn't know if I'd ever even have to find out what it would be like. If it's similar to Celia's case, I might never get bit. But I got bit. I just thought the whole experience was interesting, so I just wanted to talk about it. What's it like to get bit by a venomous snake that I couldn't find much info about online? Now, I don't want to misconstrue when I say venomous snake that this is some severely dangerous snake. It's not. Yes, they have venom, but it's not designed for humans. So when I say I got bit by a venomous snake, I mean I got bit by a snake that possesses venom. But with that being said, I honestly was kind of surprised by the way my body handled it. Because judging by everything that I had seen, I had come to the conclusion that it's gonna be similar to a hognose bite, maybe a little worse. Again, I've never been bit by a hognose, so I assumed what people... Man, my light went out. I forgot to charge it. Oh well, who needs a second light? Not me. I could just turn the brightness up. Ooh. Maybe I won't turn it up. Kind of makes me look like a ghost. Anyway, since I had never experienced a hognose bite, I was anticipating the comparison that hognose bites most commonly get, which is similar to a bee sting or a wasp sting. But even that is still kind of a gray area because you know there's people that are allergic to bee stings and wasp stings. I don't know why saying wasp stings is so hard for me to say. I feel I have to slow down to say it. Bee stings, easy to say. Wasp stings is for some reason harder on my brain. I don't know. Anyway, bee sting, wasp sting. Bee sting, wasp sting. Bee sting, wasp. Bee sting, wasp, sping. Bee sting, wasp, sting. I'm having a stroke. That's still a gray area because some people are allergic and have more severe reactions. So still don't necessarily know what people are comparing it to exactly, but it's a rough idea. All I've heard is that Malagasy cat-eyed snakes have a little bit more intense than that. So I'm expecting just like a more painful bug bite, really. So my expectations were, if I ever were to get bit, is pain around the injection site, and that's really it. Just pain at the bite site. More happened. And it was a little interesting. So let me get her out real quick while I talk about it. She's still a newer snake. You guys gotta get used to seeing her a little more. She's been eating good. She's still in her little container. It was going to just be her quarantine container, but when I went to move her into her enclosure that I set up for her, she's still way too small for it. I would never find her in that enclosure. So we're waiting for Bug to get a little bigger, and then she'll get into the bigger cage. But let's talk about how I got bit. So it was her feeding day. I was looking for my tongs because normally when you feed snakes, you use tongs because you don't want them to get your hand by accident. The tongs provide distance between the meal and your hands. Sometimes I can't find my tongs. If I can't find my tongs, I just open the cage enough to stick the rat in and they can grab it, and my fingers are still outside of the cage so they're safe from getting nibbled on. Now, if I do get bit for whatever reason, my method normally is to let them bite down until they want to let go. Because it's never normally that long, it's not that painful, and it keeps them safe, because if I were to yank them off, I could pull their teeth, break their teeth, hurt their jaw. I don't want to do any of that. So I normally just let the snake let go once they realize they're biting on me and they're not getting food, or once they realize I'm not a threat and they can let go, whatever the case may be. Now, the silly thing about doing that in this situation was the longer I let her bite, the more she could envenomate me. The more venom she could put in my body. So what happened was I could not find my tongs, and she eats pinky mice, these little tiny mice. So I opened up her cage to drop the mouse in, but I wanted her to see the mouse first, because if I just dropped it in, I was worried she wouldn't see it, wouldn't find it, wouldn't eat it. She would think it was dead, wouldn't want anything to do with it. I like them to see their prey moving around. Their prey is dead. I don't do live prey, but when I'm holding it, it makes it kind of swirl around, brings their attention to it. So I stuck my hand in, and instead of just dropping it, I let it wiggle for a minute. And when I did that, she went right for it, missed, and got my finger instead. Even though I knew, yes, she's technically venomous, and yes, she's actively biting me, my main concern was not hurting her. So I just let her continue to bite. She ended up biting for like 2 minutes. And that's where I think I went wrong. She chomped. When she did finally let go, she went back in her enclosure, ate her food no problem. I left her alone. I had a solid minute or two after she bit me to sit down in my bed, get comfy, and then all of a sudden I started feeling something weird. Because I'm used to snake bites at most feel a little itchy to me sometimes. Other than that, after the bite's over, I don't feel them anymore. That's it. But my finger was pulsating hard. Like, I could feel my heartbeat in my finger very notably. It was very, very intense pulsating. And so my brain went to, okay, this is why people compare it to like a bee sting or a wasp sting. I can feel the pressure and the pulsating, and that's it. So I assumed that's the end of it. It's gonna swell a little bit and then it'll be done. I was surprised with how intense the pulsating got. It was really hard to focus on anything else except my finger pulsating. But whatever, I was letting my finger do its thing. I washed it off, sat back down, went to watch YouTube or whatever the heck I was doing. And then about 10 minutes in, things started to feel a little funny. This little girl did a little bit of damage. It was surprising. Like, after I had accepted that my finger was just gonna throb for a while, I wasn't expecting anything else. I wasn't expecting a second wave of stuff. Sorry, my cat Nemo is literally rolling on the ground. So, 10 minutes in, and all of a sudden, there's a lot of physiological effects happening. A lot. And it was a little overwhelming with how many different things were happening at once. I wouldn't say it was insanely painful or anything. It was just a lot of different feelings happening at once. I started to get really lightheaded, and I started to disassociate a little bit. Like, whatever I was watching started to feel like, you know, I never know how to describe disassociating to people that don't experience it. It started to feel like I was kind of like in my own little bubble. Everything around me started to get, the noises started to get drawn out. They were harder. Everything was like muffled. I felt very detached from everything. So that was going on. I was kind of getting detached from reality for a little bit. And then everything from like my clavicle up, so I guess my neck and my head, started to get really warm. I started to feel like I was sticking my head in an oven. Everything started to feel insanely warm. And then I started to get weird tingles all over my body. And then I started to get really nauseous. I was surprised that this little girl was she's doing some damage. I was surprised at her little venom. I was surprised it was doing as much as it did. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it surprised me because of her size, because there are plenty of baby vipers that are this size that will absolutely cause you to lose an arm. So it wasn't really her size, it was more of the fact that I was expecting like a bee sting. And I just got a bunch of sensations going on instead. She's pretty powerful, honestly. Queen energy. She's very powerful. She's a strong lady. I just felt like since I don't really see a lot of information online about these bites, that it would be interesting to share my experience with one, especially because of what's happened since then. Because all of that subsided within like 10 or 15 minutes. Then it was just back to the swelling and the pounding of my finger. And the swelling continued and only got worse for the next 2 days, to the point where I could only see like half of my fingernail, and it continued to pulsate nonstop. After 2 days, it started to go down. By day 3, I think by the night of day 3, the swelling was all gone. I couldn't even really see where the bite was at that point because it was so small of a bite to begin with. Just 3 days after, it was already pretty much impossible to see where it was. But then a few days passed and I was like, okay, no biggie. It's done. Now I know what it was like. Interesting experience, but that's it. Yeah, then I started losing feeling in my finger. It's been weeks now and that feeling has not come back. This finger right here, I'm not flipping you off. Yeah, I can't feel it. I can't feel, again, not flipping you off. I can't feel this whole spot on my finger and the tip of my nail bed, which is really gross right now anyways, because I just got all of my acrylics removed, but let's ignore that. Yeah, I can't feel it. All thanks to this little booger. But I just think that's super interesting. And I honestly wonder if being immunocompromised contributed in any way at all to this, or what. I will say though, one thing I did learn, this is kind of a no-brainer anyway, but I did definitely learn that it has to do with the amount of time I allowed her to chomp on my finger. Because another time she did nick my thumb just a little bit, just a little, that's it. She did do that to my thumb, zero reaction. And I mean, my thumb did bleed, so I mean, she got in there. No throbbing, no swelling, no whole body reaction, nothing. Literally nothing. Felt like a normal bite. So I guess if you are going to get bit by these, as long as you get your finger away quickly, it pretty much does nothing to you. But if you let them chomp on your finger like it's their lunch for 2 minutes, yeah, your body isn't very happy. Your body isn't very happy with it. What can I say? I donated my finger to science. I just am very passionate about science and wanted to contribute, so I gave up the ability to feel in my middle finger. You're welcome. So yeah, since then I have not regained feeling in that finger. I don't know if it's gonna come back. I do have nerve damage on my leg, on my outer thigh, on my right leg. I have nerve damage from when I was dealing with addiction. It was numb for years, and then about 3 years ago, whenever I would squat, I would get like an electric jolt just buzz through my leg, and it would be pretty painful. And I went to physical therapy for it, and then it just stopped doing the electric little jolt, but the feeling never came back in my leg. It's just gone. It's donezo. It's been like 5 years now. It's done. So I lost all feeling in my leg and it never came back on my outer right thigh. So I'm curious if this is going to be a similar situation because it doesn't tingle. There's nothing. It's just numb. It has only been so many weeks. So I don't know if it's going to come back. I have no idea. I know nerves can regrow and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see if I donated my finger for science permanently or not. You never know. But I just wanted to do a quick video talking about my experience getting bit by her since there's so little information online about it, particularly with Malagasy cat-eyed snakes. Just thought it was interesting. Let me know if you've been bit by any of these venomous snakes. I mean, let me know if you've been bit by vipers before and stuff like that, but I'm talking about these like venomous snakes where the venom isn't really potent for humans. But let me know if you've experienced it and what your reaction was, because I just found this kind of interesting. But yeah, no hard feelings between me and Bug. If she wanted that finger so bad, she can have it. honestly. It's fine. I don't need it. She's just so darn cute and goofy looking. I don't care. She can have my fingers. Now, of course, if you are dealing with snakes more venomous than this, like the actual venomous snakes, please practice safe handling. Do not just free handle them. But you know, I've never had venomous snakes, so I'm not even trying to sound like I know what's best. I'm just saying, for those watching, this is different than handling like a viper or something, and don't do that. So be safe. But yeah, thank you for watching me with my 4 remaining fingers with feeling. This one's out. Nemo is trying to get out now, but I had to put him in here because if I left him out there, he would have been crying at the door the whole time, begging to come in. But now that I let him in, he wants back out. But if I let him out, he'll want back in. So I'm gonna go let him out now. Okay, bye.